Liam could tell that the weapons had performed even better than he had hoped. When he heard that the Banfield house was looking to purchase a Dreadnought-class battleship, Yulisha offered their factory's products. Just then, Nias came running and exclaimed that Liam had already promised to buy from the 7th weapon factory. Yulisha couldn't believe that someone like Nias, a mere technology officer, had been sent for negotiations, but Nias proudly declared that she had been promoted to the captain position. Liam was surprised to learn that the two already knew each other. Yulisha explained that while Nias was an incredible tech officer, her sales skills were lacking. Nias argued that she was the best salesperson in their factory, but Yulisha pointed out that it was only because of Liam's previous purchases. Liam was taken aback by this revelation and reluctantly agreed to buy 100 ships from Yulisha. Just then, an officer reported that they had already wiped out the pirate fleet, and Liam ordered them to seize everything. Shortly after, Amagi welcomed Liam back and reminded him to consider his reputation after his battle against the vicious pirates. Liam claimed he was looking for a worthy opponent to fight, but Amagi informed him that he had already been branded as the pirate hunter, and people were now avoiding him. Liam didn't want to give up though, as the pirates were his source of income. Liam and Amagi then entered a warehouse filled with the spoils from their space raids. Liam took out an alchemy box and transformed everything into various resources that they could later exchange for money. Liam wondered if it would be wise to pay off his debt immediately, but Amagi cautioned against it, as it might raise suspicions about the source of his payment. She also mentioned Liam's recent purchases from 2 different factories, warning him about the need for future maintenance when hoarding too much equipment. Changing the subject, Liam asked about which noble house he would join for training. Amagi hadn't heard anything yet, but Liam didn't care which house it would be. Typically, descendants of noble families trained under other noble houses before adulthood, but Liam had faced numerous rejections due to his predecessor's infamous reputation. Liam could only hope that his guide could assist him in this matter. Later, Brian found a house where Liam could receive training. Liam wasn't excited about it, knowing that training was just a pretext to strengthen ties with other noble houses. However, Brian revealed that the Razel house put applicants through genuine training. They were known for their rare minerals and processing technology, although Liam noticed that their surrounding territories were still poor, with some of the population migrating to Banfield territory. Liam suddenly had an idea to develop the new territories for entertainment, but Amagi reminded him to complete his education capsule training first. Liam entrusted everything to Amagi, leaving Brian feeling envious and disheartened. Meanwhile, at the Razel Viscounty, Randolph Sera Banfield reviewed the training applicants and identified the heir from the Exner house who could be useful in the future. The guide awaited the right moment and tampered with Liam's application data. However, the guide's power was insufficient, and they accidentally switched Liam's information with that of other applicants. One application reviewer noticed Liam's background and commented on his substantial debt. Everyone laughed, as there were always underprivileged applicants seeking their chances. Some suggested rejecting Liam's application, but Randolph mentioned that they had already received gifts. Suddenly, they discovered another applicant who had accomplished incredible feats. This applicant had taken control of their house as a 5-year-old child, revitalized their territory, received imperial rewards for pirate extermination, and even purchased Dreadnought-class battleships. The PTAC house left everyone in amazement. Randolph suggested that the best way to strengthen their relationship was by marrying his daughter to them. The guide eagerly anticipated Liam's reaction. At the Razel House spaceport, people talked about House PTAC's generosity. They sent lots of gifts to make sure the children felt comfortable during their stay. There were also rare minerals and a brand new model spaceship for transport, which surprised everyone. On the other hand, the ships from House Banfield didn't bring any gifts, and they also made the Razel household pay for maintenance costs. Naturally, this disappointed everyone. Little did they know, it was part of the guide's evil plan. Peter Serapatak, another trainee, arrived at the spaceport. Randolph greeted him with arrogance because Peter was getting special treatment. Peter ordered the servants to take him to his room, and this made Randolph step in to guide him properly. Bystanders were surprised by Peter's boldness and how he behaved shamelessly in another noble's house. While Randolph was guiding Peter, he offered to introduce him to his daughter. Peter asked about her looks and Randolph said she was very beautiful. Randolph had cunning intentions. He wanted to see what kind of person Peter was. He planned to arrange a marriage between his daughter and Peter, hoping to control him for his own benefit. Meanwhile, Liam found himself taken to a room that looked like a place for servants. It was very different from the luxury he had expected. The instructor told them that their training would happen in these humble surroundings and told them to get ready. Many members were unhappy about this, but the instructor reminded them that they were trainees and had to follow the rules. They changed into their training clothes and were told to meet at the training grounds. Liam was disappointed because his initial thoughts of a luxurious life were shattered. Even Brian donated his prized bonsai plant, which was the best he had. His plant had won many competitions, so he told Liam not to worry about the Razel household not liking it. Liam realized that Brian was right and that the Razel household was providing proper live-in training. He couldn't help but think highly of Randolph despite his own bad reputation. The instructor asked them to get ready because their training would start with a daily routine of running a lap. This would continue throughout their training. To Liam's surprise, his roommate turned out to be Kurt Sera Exner, a baron. Liam felt better because he outranked Kurt, but Kurt ignored him, making Liam dislike him even more. Time passed quickly, and a month went by with physical training and working as household staff. Liam found the training too easy compared to his tough swordsmanship practices back home. He didn't have to deal with administrative tasks or meetings which made him bored. During one of these dull moments, Ella, a new friend, encouraged him to take his duties seriously. They heard laughter outside, where Randolph's daughter Katerina and Peter enjoyed their training activities. Unlike the other trainees covered in sweat and mud, Katerina and Peter seemed to genuinely enjoy what they were doing. Ella told Liam how Peter had taken control of his territory and gotten a sword license at a young age. He was known as a kind ruler, loved by his people. There were high expectations for his future because of his many achievements. When Liam heard this, he became convinced that Peter was just like him. Liam had also built up his territory from a young age and gotten a sword license. However, the big difference in their reputations confused Liam. He thought Randolph had found out about his bad deeds back in his territory, which explained why people didn't like him. Ella understood Liam's worries and told him that everyone in their group faced similar problem. Liam wondered why someone like Ella was with him. She explained that she was just a third daughter, and it was in her best interest to finish her training and make good connections with a powerful family. This would help her brother, who was going to inherit their family's wealth. It wasn't a pleasant topic, but it was common among nobles. Liam felt bad for her situation. As Ella talked, Liam thought that everyone who was treated poorly probably had their own problems. They were all treated the same way as him, and he believed they were his fellow allies among the disliked lords. So, Liam thought it was a good idea to make friends within the group. Ella then asked about Kurt and suggested that Liam befriend him since they shared a living space. However, Liam didn't like Kurt because he was always ignoring him. Ella tried to convince Liam to reconsider, saying it would be better if they got along. Liam stubbornly said he would only befriend Kurt if he humbled himself. Ella playfully called Liam self-centered, and Liam found Ella a bit strange. The next day, the instructor announced a martial arts sparring session and told everyone to be careful. Each trainee had to pick a weapon and partner with their roommates. Liam and Kurt chose similar swords, but Kurt's had 2 edges, while Liam's had 1. Kurt warned Liam that he couldn't hold back, and Liam confidently mentioned his mastery of the one-flash technique. Kurt didn't know about the technique and suggested backing out, but both of them were determined to face each other. When the instructor signaled the start of the match, Liam and Kurt began a fierce duel. They both got pushed back by the force of their attacks. Liam was surprised by how well Kurt could withstand his blows, and everyone watching was impressed too. Kurt humbly apologized for underestimating Liam's sword skills and acknowledged the one-flash technique. They both took a moment to study each other's moves. The instructor saw them lose focus and scolded them, reminding them to concentrate on the fight. Ella, watching from the side, chuckled in a mysterious way. After the sparring session, Kurt took a bath to cool down. He used to think that people who only relied on their wealth lacked real skills. Kurt's father had become a noble because of his abilities. Kurt had been seriously training in swordsmanship since birth and had obtained his license. He didn't want to become arrogant, but he felt he had become a bit overconfident. During a sparring match, Liam launched a strong attack that Kurt could barely block. Kurt used to think it was just a regular training session, but he now believed he could learn a thing or two from Liam. Later, as Kurt entered a room, he heard Liam laughing in an evil way. Liam was laughing because he found out that House Exner was imposing a very high tax rate of 60%, which he considered extremely wicked. Kurt explained that House Exner was a new noble house and lacked experience in managing a territory and dealing with the people. Kurt had come to House Racel to learn management, but he found the training to be similar to that of any other house. He mentioned that they were planning to start training for natural satellite resource development the next year, but without a proper understanding of the basics, ruling effectively was challenging. Hearing Kurt's situation, Liam agreed that House Razzle wasn't the best place for training. Despite this, Kurt was determined to put in an effort for his parents' sake. Liam decided to help Kurt by teaching him about taxes and how to deal with the populace. Kurt was taken aback by the sudden development. Liam suggested reducing the taxes to avoid hindering development. Liam really liked the way House Exner was squeezing money out of people, but poor Liam didn't know that it was the standard tax method in the Empire. He believed that alliances between cunning lords were crucial and wanted to get along with Kurt. Liam recommended extorting from the rich rather than the poor. He also advised Kurt to flatten the palace to cut costs, which Kurt believed to be troublesome. Liam shouted at him to manage with that so he could reap the benefits later. He also emphasized the importance of having full control over the military. Kurt was amazed to know how everything in Liam's territory was in order. The territory given to Kurt's father was poor, and the Empire still sought taxes from it. The household and the people were experiencing unspeakable hardships because of that. With no fame to their name as they were new nobles, no one was willing to help them in their surroundings. But now he had hope. He thought that it would be meaningless to consult with others, but he believed that Liam could solve it. Liam asked Kurt to reform his military and buy new ships that cost less to maintain than worn-out battleships with high maintenance costs. When Kurt lamented about the lack of money to buy the new ships, Liam offered to help Kurt borrow money through his trusted private merchant, Thomas. Kurt worried about the debt affecting Liam, but Liam didn't consider money important and valued the friendship with Kurt's family, whom he believed to be fellow unconventional individuals. Kurt mistook Liam's talk of evil as a reflection of his strong conviction and aspired to be like him. They became friends and Kurt discussed things with his father while Liam contacted Thomas. The following day, Ella felt really happy to see Liam and Kurt getting along well. Liam admitted he was wrong about Kurt the whole time, and Ella was satisfied as long as they got along. Liam asked if Ella needed any help and she mentioned she didn't know much about managing her household, but she was okay as long as she married someone from a similar social status. Liam suggested that she marry Kurt, but Ella declined, saying it wasn't a good choice and her family should make that decision. Liam was concerned for her, but she thought it was unnecessary. Meanwhile, in a nearby corridor, Rozelle's daughter Katerina was having an affair with someone. Ella and Liam accidentally overheard them. Ella remarked that it was daring of them to do such things when Katerina was supposed to be engaged to Peter. Liam wondered if all the girls were like that, thinking Katerina was assertive. Ella agreed that most marriages were based on agreements, and some people might have multiple partners. Liam agreed, believing that people couldn't marry for love alone. However, Ella disagreed, saying there were cases where marriages were based on love, and she believed love could conquer anything. Ella reminded Liam that they had to hurry because they were already late for work. Liam mentioned that there were troublemakers causing problems the day before, and the number of such incidents had been increasing. He believed that if their lord was a noble person, there would be no way to put an end to the crimes. The only way to stop it was to become evil itself. He lamented about the fact that Peter didn't understand. During a meal, Kurt and Liam were discussing the natural satellite resource development training they would start soon, involving hard labor for a year. Liam thought it was still better than working as servants in the mansion since labor training would also enable them to learn more about piloting mobile knights, which was more beneficial. Kurt appreciated Liam's advice and considered meeting him a miracle. Suddenly, Ella came and greeted them cheerfully. When they asked why she was cheerful, Ella invited them to join her for natural resource development training in a nearby system as a group. Kurt and Liam agreed, and they decided to form a group for the training. Meanwhile, Katerina was walking through the mansion and overheard a commotion. She wondered if Peter was fooling around with other girls again. She didn't like the idea of being with someone like Peter, even if it benefited her family. She had heard that Peter had obtained the sword school license, but he had used a lot of excuses to abstain from the matches. She also heard that he revitalized his territory after taking over as a lord, but she had doubts about the truth of these rumors. Liam and the others were preparing for work on a spaceship. Liam was unhappy with the sweaty suits they had to wear. Kurt saw it as a way to understand the workers' hardships, and Ella disliked using things that smelled like others. The instructor had told them to stop complaining because the training was meant to show them the challenges of working in extreme environments. Kurt believed the training would help them manage work more efficiently and save money. Ella thought it would be better to avoid such work if it caused business losses. On the other hand, Liam had a different opinion. He blamed House Rysel for the situation, saying it was the responsibility of higher-ups to make profits and implement changes. and he saw it as an excuse to cover up negligence. He felt it was a waste of time considering his wealth. Even when the instructor glared at him, Liam still refused to change his opinion. He remembered his previous workplace, where if someone failed at a task, they were asked to work harder. When they succeeded, the credit went to the boss and ideas that cost too much were dismissed, even if they could bring profits in the long term. Liam wished he could tell his past self to quit if his work wasn't appreciated. They were deployed on an asteroid and Liam found the new machine easy to control compared to the old one. Kurt and Ella seemed to be doing well too. The instructor acknowledged Liam's skills and asked him to help with his work. They joked around and became friendly after their regular training. Kurt marveled at Liam's tough childhood training, but Liam considered it easy compared to his masters. Kurt wished to meet Liam's master, whom he considered a great person. Ella joined them and suggested taking a group photo. Liam asked Ella to take her hands off as he was sweaty, but Ella didn't mind as she was going to take a bath soon. They took many photos, and Ella left the place. Kurt admired Ella's cheerful nature, which Liam agreed with. Liam felt that there was no point in his training there, but he was happy to meet Kurt and Ella. Liam wanted to share his experience with Amagi, but immediately realized he had forgotten to make the regular call. When he contacted Amagi, she asked why he hadn't kept in touch as agreed. Liam explained he had been busy and Amagi reassured him it was okay as long as he was fine. Brian asked Liam about his life there and Liam mentioned the lack of tedious work and doing training on his own. Brian was pleased to hear Liam was doing well. When Brian questioned Liam about wearing a training uniform, Liam mentioned that it was his regular daily outfit, which totally shocked Brian. Liam asked about their territory developments, immigrant plans, and military reconstruction. Amagi reported that everything was progressing well and inquired what Liam meant by that being his daily outfit. When Liam explained he was doing mining work on one of House Razzle's resource asteroids, Brian was shocked to learn they made him do manual labor, which they justified as necessary training to learn the hardships of workers. When Kurt reminded Liam that their meeting time had ended, Liam said goodbye and ended the call. After Liam hung up, Brian expressed concern about Liam's well-being. He mentioned that Liam had already ended the call. Brian was upset with how Liam was treated, even after they had sent excessive resources to the Razel household. Brian decided to travel there to investigate the mistreatment of Liam and vowed never to forgive the Razel household for treating Liam like a laborer. Amagi agreed with Brian and started gathering information about them. However, she was still happy that Liam had made some friends, and Brian also agreed with that, but it wasn't a reason to forgive House Razel. On the other hand, Kurt was worried about fanatics. Kurt's father, a famous knight, had a lot of fans, and among them were some extreme fans. It was normal that being an ace or a named knight would make them popular across the empire. Liam was amused to learn that Kurt's father was that famous. Kurt mentioned that some secretly took private pictures of his father, causing a ruckus in his territory. Even his own photos had been circulating, which increased Kurt's worry. Liam found this fascinating and thought Kurt's surroundings resembled those of an idol. That's when Liam got a new idea. He suggested improving security and legally selling their images to profit from it. As someone breaking through their security to take a simple photo meant it was worth it. It was a simple way to earn a profit. Liam believed that rather than some bootleg and knockoff, a well-taken and legal image would sell for more. Though the sneak photos would sell for more, it was still a good plan. Kurt liked the idea and thanked Liam, planning to discuss it with his father. Still, Liam asked Kurt to be careful of some loyal subordinates, as high loyalty could be a problem too. Ella laughed at their interactions. She suggested Liam eat vegetables, and he gave them to Kurt because they were too bitter. Kurt dared Liam to consider eating bitter vegetables, but Liam was adamant about not eating them. Suddenly, they heard a weird laugh, but they couldn't find the source and dismissed it. They thought they were imagining things. But Ella was the one who left like that. She watched them get along and got so ecstatic that she almost let her voice out. She felt that it was too soon and wanted to watch more of such moments. Meanwhile, outside the territory, Yasushi wandered around trying to avoid Liam and running low on money. He was rejected for a job due to not having the required license even though he had a lot of experience. Hungry and desperate, he had sold all his possessions. When he was looking at the cafeteria and thinking about how hungry he was, a thug hit his shoulder and he fell down. He acted having his shoulder broken from that light impact and demanding monetary compensation for the treatment. For Yasushi, the thug threatened to kill him if he didn't pay the money for it. That's when Liam Liam was standing behind the thug and asked him who was daring enough to kill his almighty master. Liam was glad to meet his master after a long time. Yasushi wondered why Liam was there. He thought Liam might be angry for lying to him and came to harm him. Without much time to think, Yasushi wanted to run away quickly. A thug asked if Liam was Yasushi's friend when he saw Liam carrying a sword that was known as a toy in the Intergalactic nations. He pulled out a gun to play with Liam, but our boy swiftly used his one flash technique and defeated them all. Yasushi realized that running away from Liam was no longer an option because Liam had become much stronger than before. Liam approached Yasushi, knelt down and greeted him. He talked about how hard he had worked to improve his skills. Yasushi pretended to notice Liam's improved swordsmanship, even though he had sold his sword and was now looking for jobs. Yasushi made up a story about traveling with only the clothes on his back and seeking disciples who could master the way of the Flash. Liam suggested starting a dojo in his territory, but Yasushi declined, fearing being caught. He claimed he was looking for students who could master the Flash rather than just ordinary students. Liam felt that one Flash was already perfect, but Yasushi disagreed, saying the path of the warrior had no end, and one must strive to improve continually. Liam asked for forgiveness and permission to assist Yasushi in finding his own students. Yasushi explained that every practitioner of one Flash needed to have at least 3 disciples. Since Liam was his first disciple, he needed to find 2 more. Yasushi asked Liam to do the same. They had their own unique swordsmanship styles, and there might be a chance to combine them in the future, but not now, as they needed to keep improving. Liam admired Yasushi's wisdom and asked for forgiveness. Liam couldn't send his master off empty-handed, so he gave him some travel funds, which Yasushi gratefully accepted. While they were talking, a guard arrived and questioned them about the incident. Liam asked Yasushi to leave it to him and left the scene. The guard found the dead bodies and arrested Liam. He couldn't stop thinking about Yasushi's words and decided to start looking for his own disciples. Liam aspired to become an evil lord, but wanted to follow in his master's footsteps. Lost in thought, Liam's instructor remarked on his habit of talking to himself. When news of the murder reached him, the instructor was surprised, and Liam apologized for his insincerity. The victims were infamous figures, but their ability to evade capture until now was a mystery. Despite understanding Liam's emotions, the instructor conveyed Viscount Roselle's message that Liam must spend time in jail to cool off. Liam accepted the sentence and contemplated ways to gain disciples. The Roselle territory, unknown to many, served as the main base for a notorious pirate group. Liam's actions had incurred their wrath, especially since 3 of their comrades were killed. One pirate urged their leader to seek revenge on Liam, but the leader was concerned about the lack of information on Liam and the potential consequences of targeting a nobleman like him. Another pirate had mentioned a VIP debtor from the Petit household who was also a noble. It was Peter. He suggested using Peter because he already owed them a significant debt. The leader ordered the crew to gather as much information as possible about Liam. The leader was determined to take revenge and swore to make the noble regret crossing their path at Roselle's household. Meanwhile, Randolph was teaching a management class to the privileged students. He talked about the importance of coexisting with pirates and believed that it was impossible to eliminate them completely. He mentioned that pirates were a result of governance issues and suggested controlling the underworld and their territory to develop their planet. One student raised doubts about these lessons, arguing that it went against the duty of nobles to protect their territory and people. Randolph criticized the students for having such moral ideals and insisted that they sometimes needed to get their hands dirty. Peter chimed in, revealing that his household was already involved in such activities. This surprised Randolph but also pleased him, as it meant both houses had a similar mindset, fostering a prosperous relationship. Randolph continued to stress the importance of building relationships and balancing power when dealing with pirates. These lessons were leading the students, including Peter, down a dangerous path. In a concealed black casino in Viscount Roselle's territory, Peter found himself engaged in a card game. Unfortunately, he kept losing and grew frustrated. He asked the host to add the money to his tab, as he always did. However, a man in a suit approached Peter and asked him to settle his debts. Peter refused, suggesting he ask Viscount Roselle instead. The man warned Peter that this could harm his reputation and made a proposition. He offered to settle Peter's substantial debt in exchange for information. Without much thought, Peter agreed. He received an image of Liam's face but pretended not to know him. The man then mentioned Liam's association with the Roselle house, but Peter brushed it off, assuming Liam was insignificant. Amused by Peter's response, the man promised special services in exchange for more details about Liam. With a snap of his fingers, attractive women surrounded Peter, and he eagerly agreed to cooperate, promising to reveal everything. The man in the suit was pleased with Peter's enthusiasm. After some time, Liam was pardoned and attended the class. Since the training had gone on for a while, the instructor planned to take them to a pub for some fun. Liam and Kurt joined other cadets at a pub near the outskirts. Liam was disappointed because he had expected to visit establishments with beautiful girls. Kurt felt uncomfortable discussing girls in Ella's presence, but Liam blamed Ella for coming with them. Ella, however, didn't mind such conversations, which relieved Kurt. Liam enjoyed the skewers and asked for more. Ella asked Liam about his idea of having fun, and Kurt nearly choked on his beer in response. Liam was oblivious to Kurt's discomfort, and Ella scolded him for not knowing any better. Liam asked for Kurt's opinion and he was flustered by the topic but agreed with Liam's perspective. Liam thought that fulfilling basic human desires such as eating, sleeping, and sex was essential, and Kurt agreed. Liam used to think that his failure in his previous life happened because he worked too much, didn't have fun, and put family first. But now he had a new perspective. He realized the importance of pursuing worldly desires and felt it was the duty of a noble to create places where his loyal subjects could enjoy themselves. Liam planned to build such a place on his planet, which would also bring in profits. A lady who overheard their conversation encouraged them not to be too proper and to enjoy life while they were still young. She left after speaking and Liam wanted to tip her. However, she suggested he order more instead. So Liam ordered more drinks for everyone in the pub. He and the lady shared a weird laugh. Kurt explained that Liam was still lacking in some way. Liam was happy Kurt was learning to turn people's desires into profits. Then, Liam asked Kurt about his experiences with a certain deed. Kurt was taken aback and spilled his drink. Liam pressed him to answer, believing it was possible for nobles. Kurt argued against it, saying he needed to be faithful to his future fiancée. Liam didn't trust the word faithful much in this world. Kurt asked if Liam had any experience and Liam admitted he hadn't. They both realized they were in the same boat. Liam decided on a new target, visiting the entertainment district. He persuaded Kurt to go with him, as no one knew about their plans. However, Ella advised them to postpone it, expressing concern for their futures. When she mentioned the risk of a disease that could make men's genitals explode, they decided to follow her warning and go home. They learned a valuable lesson about caution and responsibility. Ella reminded them to be grateful for her warning. Liam took his training more seriously after hearing about the strange infection that could cause such a gruesome outcome. He was frustrated about the fixed exhibition matches they had to participate in. He suspected that Randolph's retainers were planning these matches without Randolph's knowledge to please him. Liam and Kurt both refused to lose, but Kurt suggested a match against Peter, as they both held Aelin's school sword-style licenses. Liam doubted Peter's strength and questioned the validity of his license, as he believed it should only be granted to those who truly mastered swordsmanship. Kurt didn't want to start a rumor, but he explained that Peter had probably bought something with money. Liam was shocked to hear that Ella had asked him not to be too serious about famous schools. Famous schools usually sell their master's licenses to people with high social status. Liam thought it was a good idea because it would advertise their name, but at the same time their swordsmanship lineage would suffer without the ability to pass on their skills to future generation. Kurt mentioned that he and his father had also obtained a license in the same way, and it had cost them a lot. Liam felt that the whole system was corrupt. He thought about Yasushi, who didn't ask for anything like the others. Liam felt grateful to Yasushi for giving him such a master. Did you like this story? Would you like to see a sequel? Write the word space if you've seen to the end of this video, and let's collect 200 likes for the final part 5 to be released as soon as possible. Also write in the comments, would you like to get a harem of such cute android girls? I am very interested to read your comments. That's all for me. See you later and bye-bye.